A lot of print-on-demand sellers end up creating hundreds of designs that they think are amazing and then making no sales. And that's because without understanding what's already selling, it's really hard for one person to just predict what the general market actually wants, especially in such a competitive space. If you follow the steps in this video, you will rewire your brain into creating designs with a much higher chance of selling. And I'll be showing you 6 completely free research tools that I've personally used to inspire some of my best-selling products. I'm actually going to be using them to do research throughout this video, and we'll be going through the results together at the end as well. Now, before we start diving in, we need a way to collect and organize your product and keyword research. So I use OneNote to create 2 tables like this. I like to aim for at least 100 entries for both product and keyword research tables for the specific POD item. For example, t-shirts. So I don't even start designing before I have 100 in each table. Now, I don't fill out every column all the time, just the important ones, so like which keyword it is and any other things that you think are important. This whole process should take a day or 2, but I promise it will save you months of work compared to if you don't do any research. And once you have a lot of entries, you'll see what I mean at the end of the video. You will be able to go through the table and see really easily at a glance what kinds of keywords, niches, and design styles are popular and most likely to sell. And then off the back of that, you'll be able to start generating your own ideas, whether it's through your own brain that has now been trained on this successful data, or pasting them into ChatGPT. And this ensures that you have a big bank of new ideas that are all likely to sell well, not just copying specific designs or creators, which we don't want to do, right? So our first tool is Pinterest, which is one of the best places that you can do research for this type of thing, because about 45% of Pinterest users are reported to be shoppers, and most companies in the gifting and apparel space are using Pinterest pretty heavily. It's a visual search engine, but we're going to be using more specifically the hidden business tools inside of Pinterest. The first is Pinterest Trends, which looks like this. And the second is the Pinterest Ads keyword research tool that shows you the rough search volume, monthly search volume of specific keywords. And I'll be going through both of these. So to access these, you'll need a business Pinterest account. You can convert a personal account into a business account fairly easily for free. You can just look up a tutorial on how to do that on YouTube. If you click in the top left corner, you should get a dashboard like this, and you can click on Pinterest Trends. First thing to do is to change your country at the top. I mostly sell in the US, so I'm going to just change that here. And then we can search for our keywords. So for example, if you're selling t-shirts, you might search for something like funny shirt or shirts. So if we search for that, we can see the interest over time, and we can also expand the time horizon to see over a longer time, and we can get keyword suggestions as well. And if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see the popular pins. I think these are useful, but obviously they're just viral on social media. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will sell well. Next, if we go back to the trends page, we can scroll down and actually see a second tool to see a list of trending keywords. Now you can change the trend type, so we can change to monthly, yearly, growing, or seasonal trends. But I like to start off by just scrolling through without entering anything to see what's popular right now. And a lot of these keywords won't be, relevant for print on demand, but it's just good to see what people are searching in general right now, so that we can it can guide the types of niches that we create for. A lot of the time I will just add some of these keywords to my lists so that I can research more in-depth long tail keywords later with these as a starting point. If you're trying to grow your Pinterest account, this is obviously a very good tool to use for that as well. Next, you can refine it to the niche that you want to sell in, and also you can add keywords. So yeah, we can search for shirt. Then we can see the types of keywords that people are searching for relating to shirts. A lot of these will just be like memory foam from shirt. That's not relevant to us, but a lot of niches you can find as well that people are searching for. So Thanksgiving obviously seems to be good. Family Christmas shirts, plaid shirts. Obviously not all of these will be low competition, but at least we know that they have demand on Pinterest, and you can write these keywords down in your research list and then use them to do product research later on. Now the next tool, it's actually 3 tools that I'm showing you. So the next one is the keyword suggestion tool in the Pinterest ads section. So if you go on the menu again and then click on create campaign, don't worry, we're not actually creating a campaign. We're not spending any money. We just have to do this to access the keyword tool. So it's going to ask us about campaign objectives. Just pause the ads, run continuously, continue, and then you've got to select a targeting strategy to be able to look for keywords. And then if we go to interests and keywords, we can search for interests or add keywords, and this is the tool that we're looking for. So we search for shirt. I have had a look earlier and there weren't that many good keywords, but the more you scroll down, the more specific they get. Yeah, I'll add some into the table properly later, but you'll see what I mean. First few will be pretty generic keywords, unfortunately. Just got to scroll down to find those good niches. Our next tool is called Bubble Trends, and again, focusing on keyword research. This is a tool mainly for looking up trending keywords on a website called Redbubble, which is a print-on-demand site that gets around 20 million visits per month. Now, the way that they find these is they scrape them off of Redbubble. So, for example, the keyword zebrafish was trending on the day that I made this. If you type in the letter Z or Z into Redbubble, you can see that zebrafish is in the trending section of the search bar. So they've just scraped together all these results and ordered them by competition into one web page. Now, the numbers here are definitely not accurate, but the order seems to be roughly accurate. So less competition at the top and more at the bottom. Now, a few years ago, I uploaded a lot onto Redbubble, designing for keywords mainly from this website. And that is what started getting me sales. And then when I started selling on Etsy, I uploaded a lot of my best sellers from Redbubble onto Etsy, and they started getting sales on Etsy as well, which is pretty much how I got my start on this. And a lot of those designs inspired by this are still selling well to this day. I've even uploaded them onto Amazon and Shopify, and some of them still get sales there. So what is popular here is definitely likely to sell across the entire internet. That being said, it's definitely skewed more towards the artsy, pop culture type of stuff. And just to warn you, like, the majority of keywords will be trademarked or not your intellectual property, which is why you need to be careful to avoid them. But that's why we're looking through this entire list. Before you start designing, make sure to actually Google the trends that you're interested in and make sure they're not related to a specific person or company. If you're in doubt, you can search on this website called trademarkia.com, which shows you live trademarks. Now, just because it's not trademarked doesn't mean that you can use it. But as I said, like, you should always Google it to make sure it's not affiliated with another person or company. And the cool thing about this is that you will basically never run out of keywords. So if we sort of do today, you'll be able to see anything on any date within the past few years. So if you just set it to like yesterday or last month or any random date in last month, you'll see hundreds of new recent trends, and it's going to take you a while to work through those. So if any of these, you can click on one of them and you can see them on Redbubble. I would sort by best selling, so you can see the best selling designs to give you inspiration, and you can put those into your spreadsheet as well. And if you scroll to the bottom, you'll be able to see how many pages of results there are. Now, Redbubble used to show this at the top, but it doesn't do that anymore. But you can still pretty much tell how many results there are by the number of pages, and you can write that in your spreadsheet. So the less pages, obviously, the less competition. Generally, if there's less results on Redbubble, it's likely to have less competition in other places, but you can do your research for the specific platform that you sell on. Before we move on to the next tool, I wanted to tell you about why I made the switch from Canva to Kittl and now use it as my primary design tool for print on demand. Kittl stands out because it's specifically designed with print on demand sellers in mind. Its highly customizable templates, along with its graphics and AI generator, make designing extremely easy, whether you're a beginner or have some experience. On top of that, Kittl's design style and elements are a lot more sophisticated and tailored for popular t-shirt design trends, which also translate well to other products. Unlike tools like Canva, which caters to a broader audience, Kittl is laser focused on meeting the needs of print-on-demand creators and commercial merchandise sellers. Kittl's text distortions and textures feature is probably my favorite tool on their platform. I absolutely love this because previously I had to export Canva fonts into Photoshop to distort text, and add textures using layer masks, which is a tedious process. And while there might be workarounds in other software, they're far more complex. Kittl makes it effortless, offering these features in just a few clicks without needing plugins or additional software. Plus, it's a web-based tool, so no downloads are required. Kittl has very clear and transparent business licensing. You can confidently use edited templates or AI-generated images for commercial purposes. In contrast, Canva has faced concerns about the origins and licensing of some of its graphics, which can leave you unsure if they're fully safe for commercial use. Kittl completely eliminates this worry, making it my go-to platform. If you want to try it out today, there's a free plan to explore the platform before committing, and for 25% off your first month or year off a Kittl Pro or Expert plan, so any paid plan, use the link in the description and enter code TIAYT at checkout, that's TIAYT, to claim your discount. Many thanks to Kittl for sponsoring this video. And this next tool is one of my favorites for product research, which is eHunt, formerly known as Etsy Hunt. And I'll link in the description to a link which will take you to this tool. I will get a commission if you decide to purchase the premium version of this tool, but the free version gives you 10 free searches per day per account. Now, if you didn't know already, I am an Etsy seller, and Etsy has over 7 million sellers now. It's got over 400 million visits per month. So it is one of the most competitive print-on-demand marketplaces. But the advantage of that is that there's a lot of data on what sells on Etsy. Now, the Etsy demographic is definitely skewed to middle to upper class female buyers. But as I said with the Redbubble example, if something sells in one marketplace, then it's extremely likely to sell in other places on the internet as well. Now, I actually got my start on Amazon by uploading a few things that were selling well for me on Etsy. And now I'm getting daily sales on Amazon, which further emphasizes my point. Anyway, this tool does a lot of things. It can show you sort of trending shops and keywords and stuff. But what I like to use it most for is doing product research with the Etsy product database. So if we search for our product, say shirts, we can see the best selling products from the past 7 days, if we order it like that, and also the total sales, which we can also order. So to see more recently released products as well, you can do sort of 1 year or all time, 30 days, and that just makes sure that the products that we're seeing are selling well because they're actually selling well, not just because they're so old, so they rank really high in the algorithm. Now, I have compared these figures by looking up my own products on here. It's not exactly accurate, but I'm not very bothered about exact figures because it's just collecting things that have the potential to sell. So this tool does have quite a lot of lag as well. It's a few weeks behind, so it's still showing Thanksgiving stuff. Again, not too bothered about the exactness, we're just looking for general trends. So if you see something that interests you, you can click on it, and then you'll be able to see the title and the tags, and also a rough estimate of how many sales it's made. You can also copy and paste the URL of a specific shop and see what its best-selling products are. So yeah, I'll just go through this and add a few into my product research table. Next, surprisingly enough, is Google itself. I'll be showing you 3 ways to use Google to do POD research. And the first method is to use search operators to fish out the relevant Shopify stores that contain a certain keyword, such as funny shirt. So we're using incognito mode, giving it a fresh start so my search history doesn't bias the results. And I'll just be searching for this in Google. Now, what this site myshopify.com does is it filters for Shopify stores in search results. So every Shopify store has a My Shopify domain. So if we click on this first result, so you can see that the domain is different, but we can still fish it out using this method because it actually has a My Shopify domain as well. If we have a look at some of these websites, and then we can use SimilarWeb to see if they have significant traffic. If they do, then what I do is just look for their best sellers basically, and then put them into the table. If you have a more specific idea of a niche you want to sell in, you can use the search operator to get Shopify stores selling in that niche. For example, Thanksgiving shirts, and yeah, you can pretty much filter for anything that's a Shopify store. And the next tool is called Google Trends, which shows you trending search terms and also suggests other related search terms for you. And it's a good way to validate if any of the keywords that you found using other tools are promising niches, as in they're going up over time. So if we set this to 2004, which is the longest time frame, we can see that funny shirt spikes every Q4, doesn't it? So not surprising at all. But we can see like related and topics and queries, and we can sort these by top or rising as well. I'll be adding some of these to my research sheet. And next is the Google Ad Keyword Planner. This is a tool that shows you keywords that people are searching for on Google and approximately how many average monthly searches it gets. So to access this tool, you can sign up for a Google Ads account. Do a YouTube search for that if you don't know how to, and then you'll be able to find this. Make sure to set your location to where you're selling to, and then you can add some of these to your spreadsheet as well. See, there will be like brands in here. Just ignore those, but you will be able to find some good niches. Again, you don't have to use these exact keywords. You can do like funny, Thanksgiving shirt, Thanksgiving gift, mugs, whatever product you're selling, and so on, in all the niches that you want to sell in to suggest you keywords. Now, if you're running Google Ads, which I am not at the moment, you will be able to see more specific figures in the average monthly searches. But as I said with the previous tool, like, it doesn't actually matter too much at this stage, because what are you going to do with that information? We're just collecting some ideas of things that a lot of people are searching for. It doesn't matter if it gets like 12,000 or 13,000 results, like how are you actually going to use that information? We can add these to our keywords list, and also we can search for these on product research tools like eHunt or Redbubble or Amazon or any other platform to get an idea of the competition and the best-selling products across the internet. Now, speaking of platforms, we have the POD marketplaces themselves, and the big advantage of doing cross-platform research is that if one niche is saturated in one marketplace, you might be able to sell it on a different marketplace with less competition in that keyword. This has worked for me a bunch of times, and it's definitely something that I would recommend. So if you have a keyword or niche or product in mind, you can just search for it on a particular site. So if we start with Redbubble, we can sort by bestseller, and you can also tell how much competition there is by the number of pages the results have. And it won't be this easy on every platform. But I have found that most platforms, so this is Etsy, has its own like bestseller signals. So the in X number of carts is a really good signal, and also the bestseller badge. And if you want to find products like these on Etsy, you can search for something, and in the results you'll see popular now. Again, be aware of intellectual property. There is quite a lot of infringement on Etsy. Like skibbity may or may not be trademarked. I haven't looked into it, but it is a word that's associated with content that somebody else has created. So I personally wouldn't use this. You can see if you want to try and get away with it, but proceed with caution. And just to illustrate that you can do this with pretty much any platform, we've got eBay here, and at the bottom of some products, you'll be able to see how many have sold. With Amazon, you can see how many reviews a product has, which is generally an indicator of popularity and how many sales it has. Even with a smaller marketplace like Bonanza, you can go to a booth that's selling well and then sort by popularity. AliExpress is also a good one, pretty underrated, I think, because a lot of drop shippers use this to sell stuff to English-speaking markets, so you can sort by the number of orders as well and see what's selling well on here. You guys get the point. I could go on forever, but I have loads of videos on my channel about various print-on-demand marketplaces. The more research you do across platforms, the better of a general idea you get about what is selling in the print product space on the internet. And on the topic of big POD websites, a lot of them will be advertising with Meta ads. Now, Meta makes it really easy to see all their ads at a glance because of the transparency policy. So if we set to worldwide, so all, and then category all ads, we can type in Redbubble and have a look at their ads that they're running. Now, obviously a lot of these will be just promo things, but if we scroll down a little bit, we should be able to find some actual designs that they're advertising. So these are some more like designs that they've chosen to put money into. Remember, this is a big corporation. A lot of their decisions about what paid ads to run are likely the things that are selling well organically. Obviously, there's no sort of metric to measure that. We've just got to trust that they're putting money into the right places with this method. But you can add those to your spreadsheet and see, generate some ideas based on them and see if they sell. Obviously, a lot of these will be promos and not actually relevant, so skip past those. And for any sort of big website, we can pretty much search for them and see what ads they're running. So yeah, again, most of these will be promos, but every once in a while you will see a design that you can take inspiration from. And you want to go to the bottom to find the older ads, because the older the ads are, the more likely they will be performing well. So these were from last month, because if an ad isn't doing well, then you would assume that they would want to stop running it. You can also just type in any keyword. So you can look for any ad that contains the word shirt and then look at what types of things or what companies are advertising on Meta in general to get a good grasp of the paid ads landscape. So yeah, you can do this with your niche, your product, or any other keyword. Just add the ones that you see yourself realistically taking inspiration from onto your spreadsheet. Again, I have a video about a lot of popular print-on-demand marketplaces that you can search for what they're advertising on the Meta ad library. Now, as promised, I've done some research using the methods that I've been showing in this video. So let's look through the tables, starting with our product research table. Now, I've tried to fill out things as quickly as possible, so there will be missing columns, but there is definitely enough to discuss here. And the first thing is that if I just like scroll through the images and pay attention to them, the variability in the quality of designs here. So there's some like super awesome, complicated styles of designs, right? But there's also some of these just like one word graphics. That's one word. That's also just one word. And those sell well as well. So that illustrates the point that it's less of how good a designer you are, but more about the psychology. So how well you can get into the target customer's head and make something that speaks to them. It's not about how advanced the design looks. For instance, one of my best-selling designs is just one word. It's a word that people in that niche find funny, and it's sort of like an inside joke. They say it a lot. So it just goes to show that you don't need to be amazing at design. However, you do need to be able to design in the styles that are popular. So we can see that sort of vintage, minimalistic, bold text, retro text, graphics, which you can generate using AI. These types of design styles, you should learn how to design with them. You can use Kittl. They've got a lot of templates in this style as well. Now let's have a look at what kinds of niches or topics are selling well. So we've got animals, holidays, families, animals again, a lot of family, humor. I haven't filled them out for some of them, but you get the idea. So like family, humor, holidays, Christmas. But have you guys noticed the most obvious option? So we've got a lot of grandma shirts, don't we? So we've got one there that's selling well, we've got one there, one there. These are all 7-day bestsellers released within 30 days. So by having a table like this where you collect results, you can recognize patterns and you can pick up on stuff like this. Now, don't ask me why people suddenly want to buy things for grandmas. They just do. So if I was making t-shirts, I would definitely make something for grandmas in one of these design styles, right? Then we've got a couple of Christmas shirts. I think it's a bit late to design things for Christmas, but if we were planning ahead for next year, we could definitely type some of these examples into ChatGPT and then generate a lot of funny ideas based on that. Also, a lot of humorous things. Now, granted, I did use funny shirt as one of my search examples, so that's going to be biased, but funny stuff definitely sells well. And other niches that are working, so family, animals, religion, are all sensible niches to go down. The problem really is when people start making up random niches that don't actually sell, or maybe those are popular, but people in those niches just don't tend to buy merch. So if you actually do this research, you'll be able to avoid that problem. Now let's have a look at our keyword research. A lot of the time this does validate the product research that we've done. So we see that vintage shirt is a keyword that's being searched for a lot on Pinterest, and that makes sense. They are selling very well right now. And bubble trends typically tends to give you a lot of very hyper-specific niches, which is good. Whereas the other tools especially Google and Pinterest tend to give you more general and just guide your direction really. But even so, let's have a look. So I got that dog in me. So let's have a look, this is selling well on Etsy as well, and that was a Redbubble keyword. You see what I mean about stuff selling well on the internet as a whole? But anyway, let's have a look at what people are actually searching for on t-shirts. So the niches that are in demand are like Christmas, again, obviously, humor. We've got a lot of humor, animals, again, professions, hobbies, pretty much a lot of very similar stuff to what we found in product research that people are actually searching for as well, which is no surprise. So if you are wanting to have a niche store, then any of these would be a shout because they actually have a lot of market demand. And over time, if you track the traffic and sales for each design that was like inspired by one of these ideas, whether it's a product or a niche or keyword, then you can see what research methods perform the best for you and focus more of your time on those in the future. Now remember, even if you are doing research, you can't expect 100% of everything you try to work. Only about a third of everything I ever upload even makes a sale. So that's with doing research as well, and a much smaller percentage of those products will pop off and go viral. So most things I upload will never even make a sale. That's just how it is, and it's a lot of trial and error. But by doing research like this and actually understanding what proven products and market demand there is, you can maximize your chance of getting your own winning products. In my opinion, the best research tool is always what has been selling for you. If a particular design style or niche is working for you, then your priority is to upload more products like that. So this external product research is really just to expand your catalog and generate new ideas if you haven't made many sales yet. If you guys want to download this spreadsheet, I'll leave a link to it in the description. Make sure to check out this video on the best websites to sell print on demand on, which you can also use to do research, and I'll see you guys in the next one.